Welcome back. I could see that there was a lot of interaction among you. We try to leave you as much as possible by yourselves so that we do not interfere. Maybe tomorrow we get more interaction. But now I have the pleasure. Mikhail, are you with us?
Hello, host, I'm here.
Пожалуйста. Добрый what? Добрый день. Добрый день. We have...
Pare. In Yerevan, you should say pare.
Recording in progress.
Say what? Okay. It's good to know. They didn't teach me that. They don't teach me anything here. The thank you, they tried to, but I forgot. It's not easy. So the idea was to have Mikhail Litvinov with us. He was organized, well, he's a long-term colleague and friend, working with the agency for many years now, particularly in Central Asia, Otabek, Mansurov. Otabek is with us, I think you remember him. And more than that, what inspired me to have this presentation was because during the Atom Expo conference, I was very much impressed with the work that was presented, and the work was dealing with sustainability development goals, taking into consideration sustainability issues. And I said, though we always hear about what is done in the US, what is done in Germany, in Canada, in Europe, but that kind of experience should also be shared so that we can broaden the spectrum of approaches that are done in different countries. So I don't want to speak more. People have been working the whole day today. So without further ado, I give the floor to Mikhail. You can also introduce yourself. The last time you had more hair. I don't know what happened, but...
It's Central Asia.
So Mikhail, you have the floor.
Hi everybody, welcome on the seminar. I just kindly ask for the presentation. Who will click it?
Oh, are you not with the presentation?
I am. I have downloaded it to the Teams.
So you can change yourself. I think it's better.
If I had known how to deal with the Zoom, how to upload here, but I'm not familiar with Zoom. Can you help me with this issue, technical issue?
So you have to share the screen. You need to open the presentation in your screen. Do you have it open?
Just a second.
Yeah.
So you have it?
Yeah, but small. Can you increase it a little bit?
It's out of my control, I suppose.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
Okay.
You can go ahead.
I will start with my presentation with some slides about what the Commonwealth of Independent States Basic Organization on Spent Nuclear Fuel, Radioactive Waste Management and Nuclear Decommissioning does, what tasks we solve, how we cooperate with other organizations, and what results we have obtained that relate to the topic of the today's seminar on sustainability and circular in decommissioning and environmental remediation process. To make the results more visual, I have combined several presentations kindly provided by my colleagues. Now we have the second slide.
Yeah.
That's good. What is the CIS Basic Organization? In 2021, the executive body of CIS decided to grant to the company, Russian company 12, the status of an industry cooperation body for the CIS countries in the field of radioactive waste and spent nuclear fuel management. The main objectives are set out in the regulation of the basic organization presented on the screens. We have 7 members states. It's Armenia, Kazakhstan, Russia, Uzbekistan, Belarus, Kyrgyzstan, and Tajikistan. In more detail, the goals and objectives of the basic organization are defined by the main document for cooperation of the CIS countries in peaceful use of nuclear energy, which is named the Framework Program for the period up to 2030. The program has a plan for the period up to 2025, which is currently being implemented, and the next version of the plan for the next 5 years is being prepared. For each goal of the basic organization, tasks have been formulated, experts group have been formed, we have 5, and the work plan is formed annually. In these activities, the basic organization takes into account the recommendations of the IAEA document advancing implementation of decommissioning and environmental remediation programs. Baseline report of the SIDE project describes a number of limitations or problems that might lead to the fact that decommissioning or environmental remediation activities will become ineffective or even fail. These restrictions are grouped into 4 categories. It's national policy, technological problems, resource and program management, and social and stakeholder issues. If it is necessary, I can return to that issue should we have time in the finale of my presentation. Areas of cooperation in CIS countries. In addition to common problem for the CIS countries in the field of decommissioning and radioactive waste management, we assist in specific problems at the request of individual CIS countries. For example, in Belarus, the government set the task to develop a national strategy for radioactive waste management and building a full-fledged radioactive waste management system, including a national operator and national disposal site. The basic organization acted as a consulting platform for this country. In Uzbekistan, there was a need for an expert assessment of the high-level radioactive waste storage facility at the Institute of Nuclear Physics. We responded to the request of Uzbek side and prepared an expert opinion on the condition of the facility with recommendations for improving its safety and an approximate cost of the necessary measures. Also, at the request of national authorities, we conduct specialized seminars on technologies related to radioactive waste management. At the request of Kazatomprom in Kazakhstan, we will hold a seminar on separation of contaminated soils in the second half of the year, I suppose in the November. We are developing a basic course of lectures on radioactive waste management for training specialists from various countries. As it can be seen on the screen, today the basis of interaction with the CIS countries is made up of objects related to reducing threats from nuclear legacy sites. The topic of bringing nuclear legacy sites into a safe condition is not new. Back to 2006, the CIS Atomic Commission issued the first report on the condition of former uranium mining sites in former Soviet Union. In 2008, the Rosatom Corporation initiated the development of a program for remediation of former uranium mining sites. It took 5 years to develop the document. In 2013, we began to implement it. It is expected that the program will be completed by the end of 2024, in December this year. Several of the most dangerous sites are also being brought into a safe condition by other international organizations. The agency acted as a coordinator of activities in the remediation of nuclear legacy sites. For these purposes, a special coordination group was created in 2012, the result of which was the Strategic Master Plan. The document takes into account national programs, the CIS program, and the activities of the Environmental Account for Remediation, which is managed by the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. As you can see, a lot has been done. Of the 10 priority sites identified in the Strategic Master Plan, priority sites have been remediated, including 2 within CIS program. A financial and economic assessment of the work has been developed for 2 more sites. The CIS-based organization has conducted an inventory of nuclear legacy sites in CIS states. A register of sites is containing information on 144 nuclear legacy sites, of which 54 are located in Central Asia. And we have a short review for each site. Thus, it became clear to us that such a large-scale task can only be solved by combining the efforts of several states. The leading role in implementing decisions regarding the nuclear legacy sites belongs to the governments of states where the sites are located. It is the government that is responsible for creating a clear framework for the decommissioning of nuclear installations and the management of contaminated areas. The adoption of a political decision on the implementation of program is usually the main driving force. Without this, significant progress is unlikely to be achieved. Based on this, the CIS Basic Organization developed a concept for remediation of nuclear legacy sites in former Soviet Union. We expect that the practical implementation of the concept will begin in 2026. The concept is based on an intergovernmental agreement of the CIS states, which, if signed by a country, becomes a legally binding for that state. The annex to the agreement will be the Register of Hazardous Facilities, containing a complete list of facilities whose operation was terminated before the December 26, 1991. However, in modern conditions, it is not enough to bring the object to a safe state. It is important to achieve sustainability of the remediation works. The issue of post-remediation measures at uranium legacy sites is of particular importance. When studying former uranium mining sites, Basic Organization experts discovered a direct relationship between the sustainability of remediation results, involvement of authorities and local residents, and the social economic development of the areas where the remediated sites are located. The Basic Organization cooperates with other unions and organizations. For example, the International Union of Veterans of Nuclear Energy and Industry. In April this year, a roundtable was held in Dushanbe, Tajikistan, on the issue of social economic development of remediated territories. The discussion was very fruitful. Veterans of the nuclear industry shared their experience. It came to some conclusions after the discussion. The main thing in the implementation of the project for remediation of environmental damage, both radiation hazardous and containing harmful substances, is the formation of strategy for the further use of the object determined by national authorities. In many cases, former uranium mining sites in the past were city-formed. Settlements grew up around them. When the production was terminated, the situation in these settlements became more complicated. Giving a new impetus to the development of these settlements helped to ensure the sustainability of the remediation results. As a guideline for the development of activities that could be implemented within the framework of remediation projects, we proposed using the provision of the United Nations document under the title Transforming Our World Agenda 2030, which contains 17 global sustainable development goals, 169 corresponding targets, and 232 indicators aimed at improving the quality of life of citizens, social economic development, and environmental sustainability of states. The basic organization conducted research to determine the relationship between these goals and projects to bring nuclear legacy sites to a safe condition. Proposals were formulated for tools to facilitate the social economic development of the nuclear legacy sites locations. Applying to the CDGs, to the remediation process, we can say that the process of removing contaminations from soil and groundwater is an integral part of the task of almost all sustainable development goals. Considering individual UN Sustainable Development Goals, we can formulate tasks and directions applicable to the remediation projects for the implementation of a specific goal, as well as specific activities that can be implemented directly within the framework of the remediation project. Let's try to do this exercise using the example of the Kajisai project in Kyrgyzstan. The remediation of the tailings dam was completed in 2019. The protective screen was restored. We changed the bed of the steam that washed away the body of the tailings dam. The remediation activities prevented the contamination of groundwater into the area. The task of bringing the facility to a safe condition was fully completed. What did we get as a result? The remediation of the Kajisai has had a positive impact on the development of the local economy. Several tourist facilities have been built in the village. Since 2019, there has been an increase in tourist flow and income of local residents. The local budget received additional funds. The investment attractiveness of the area has increased. If we turn to the specific tasks that were solved during the remediation process, I will give an example of a site near the settlement of Minkush in Kyrgyzstan. In 2023, the Talbi-Bulak tailing dam was completely liquidated. As a result, the bottom of tailing dam site was freed. There where a coal deposit was discovered. local businesses began mining coal. Thus, we can say that the remediation project is consistent with the achievement of the CDG number 8. What other tools can be selected to promote the development of the region? The success of any initiative is based on a systematic approach. Let's start with the instruments of a regulatory nature. The International Atomic Agency document Determination of Environmental Remediation and States was used as a model for this study. We conditionally divide the requirements for the final states of the nuclear legacy site into hard and soft. Hard restrictions include quantitative factors such as radiological, water quality parameters, soil, which must be achieved at the site and which are determined in many cases by the national regulatory framework. Soft restrictions are associated with aspects of social economic development and activities aimed at forming public acceptance for remediation works. Soft restrictions can be important factors in making decisions regarding the final state of the nuclear legacy site, depending on the prospects for using these sites in the national economy. We can transform these restrictions into hard and soft instruments that contribute to the development of the area where the site is located. Hard instruments are some regulation aimed at increasing the investment attractiveness of the area where the remediation site is located. For example, free economic zone, territory of advanced development, public-private partnership. Soft requirements can be formulated in the format of recommendations, methods, instructions concerning such areas as development of district infrastructure, energy, and industry. The central rectangle of the screen shows the tools for ensuring the sustainability of areas where the nuclear legacy sites are located. Let's consider them in more detail. Practically oriented activities that can be included in the project can be restoration of buildings and structures adjacent to the tailings storage facility and their use for local production. For example, in Kyrgyzstan, it is planned to demolish former production buildings. It is possible that a detailed radiological study of these ruins will allow, for example, to use the foundations of the construction for new production workshops. Another is the placement of infrastructure for the production of alternative energy. For example, in Tajikistan, at Tabashar site, the area of remediation objects is about 50 hectares. It is possible to build solar and wind power plants on them. Involvement of territories released from regulatory control in the economy. This action is well advanced in Belarus and Kazakhstan. Such activities will give a particularly good effect together with the application of laws aimed at increasing the investment attractiveness of the area where the remediation facility is located. Most of the remediation activities concerned the prevention of groundwater pollution, which is directly related to the CDG number 6, clean water and sanitation. This task has already been directly or indirectly addressed within the framework of remediation projects. For example, construction of alternative water sources. This problem was solved within the framework of the European project to work in Minkush in Kyrgyzstan. Alternative mine water catchments were created there. In Tabashar and Tajikistan, a European Commission project is being implemented and water is being supplied from an alternative clean source. The next CDG is 11, which relates to sustainable cities. Task number 11.8 directly relates to the areas where the nuclear legacy sites are located. And here, remediation work, first of all, ensures the safety of population living near the nuclear legacy site. As for facilities in the CIS countries, practical measures corresponding to this goal can be formulated as a result of intermunicipal exchange of information on the best practices for the development of municipalities, small businesses, and city infrastructure within the framework of the future Association of Nuclear Cities of the CIS countries. We expect that in the near future, the initiative of Kyrgyz Republic to establish the association will be implemented. Within this area, the CIS basic organization attracts the expert potential of the Russian Association of Nuclear Science. It has significant experience in the development of settlements for which nuclear power stations facilities are city forming. The creation of an association of municipalities of CIS countries could be the first practical step in finding projects that could combine activities to remediate nuclear legacy sites and projects to develop nearby cities. National development plans are being implemented in many CIS countries. For example, in Kyrgyzstan, there is a 5-year plan for development of mountainous areas. The expert community would initiate special events within the framework of such programs. CDG number 2 provides for the solution of tasks in increasing agricultural productivity. As a result of remediation activities, it is possible to change the status of lands due to detailed monitoring of the entire site and the identification of so-called clean areas. As an example, we can cite the actions of Kyrgyzstan government, where a screening work at the semi-polluting test site was done. About 96% of its territory was returned to the economy. Multifunctional irradiation centers can be installed on remediated sites, ensuring increased crop yields and increased shelf-life of products. At the level of national governments, local preferential program and grants can be initiated for agricultural producers or in the region, which will lead to achieving self-sufficiency in food. CDG 3 provides for the solution of tasks related to ensuring healthy lifestyle and promoting well-being. The results of remediation works are directly related to this CDG. Here, as practical measures, we can propose development of projects in the field of nuclear medicine, production of isotopic products in remediated areas, organization of social and hygienic monitoring, medical screening of the population in the areas where the nuclear legacy sites are located. CDG 7, facilitating access to research and technology in the field of clean energy. Our expert community can talk primarily about the promoting of nuclear generation. As priority areas for this field of nuclear legacy, we can propose using remediated sites for future solar power plants, wind power plants, and biofuel production, installation of energy storage devices. I will give a few more examples of a comprehensive solution of the problem of a legacy site, using the example of the project of remediation of the territory of a chemical production Ussolye in Russia. In the Irkutsk region, in the city of Ussolye-Sibirskaya, there is a former industrial site that was previously used for the production of chemical products, the Ussolye-Sibirskaya enterprise. In Soviet time, Ussolye-Sibirskaya was a city-forming enterprise, employing more than 7,000 people. It provided Siberia with a wide range of chemical products. The enterprise operated until the end of the last century. In September 2020, the situation worsened. There were risks of depressurization of process tanks and emission of pollutants into the atmosphere and Angara River. In July 2020, President Putin signed an order on measures to prevent and eliminate environmental pollution in the urban district of Ussolye-Sibirskaya. A working group was created, headed by the Prime Minister of the Russian Federation, Victoria Abramchenko. The forces and resources of the Ministry of Defense and the Ministry of Emergency Situation were mobilized. A roadmap for the disposal of hazardous chemicals has been approved. The government budget has provided the necessary funds. The decree of the President of Russia especially notes that the work should not be limited to the contamination of the territory of the former industrial site. It is fundamentally important to create conditions for sustainable long-term social economic development of the city of Ussolye-Sibirskaya. First of all, priority measures were implemented, including the liquidation of 12 underground wells with industrial waste pumped into them. Already in 2022, after the completion of the priority work, for the implementation of which Rosatom was responsible, they began to further bring the site into a safe state. Currently, more than 80% of all contaminated buildings and structures have been dismantled. 530,000 tons of waste have been disposed of. Here is an example of bringing one of the workshops into a safe condition. In November 2023, the last of the most dangerous object on the territory of the industrial site was dismantled. The dangerous production workshop in which premises it has 96 containers with hazardous chemicals were located. Let me remind you that the President set the task not only to eliminating the accumulated environmental damage, but also building modern enterprise here for the further social economic development of Ussolye-Sibirskaya. The government was tasked with taking measures by the 2030 to develop the production of small and medium tonnage chemical products and increase the volume of production of such products by the 70% up to 2030. Currently, the main investor has been identified, the Roshim Corporation, and work has begun on creating the concept, creation and development of the Federal Chemistry Center in Ussolye-Sibirskaya. The implementation of the project is primarily aimed at increasing modern, environmentally friendly, safe chemical production facilities in a new cycle that meets modern safety standards and are in demand in the current economic environment. According to the President's instructions, it is also necessary to create a basis for the social economic development of the city of Ussolii-Sibirsk. Within the framework of that project, a new comprehensive approach to the development of both the industry and the territory is being formed, including such areas as ecology, safety, science and technology, industry and cooperation, development of the territory and human resources. In August 11, 2023, the Ministry of Education and Science of the Russian Federation issued an order to establish the Federal Chemistry Research Center of Irkutsk Institute. In total, investments in the Federal Center for the Development of the Chemical Industry in Irkutsk region will amount to about 830 billion rubles over 10 years. It is approximately $7 billion. So, finally, using the CDGs number 2, 3, 6, 7, 11 as an example, we have formulated possible directions for the formation of program elements for the development of nuclear legacy sites location. The CIS-based organization will continue to form priority areas that promote the sustainability of the results of remediation activities at nuclear legacy sites. We are going to issue a document with the provisional title Set of Recommendation, which will propose organizations involved in the design of remediation works to use these tools within the construction site. At the same time, this document can be used by government agencies when forming national development plans or taken into account when developing program document for the development of nuclear legacy sites locations. I will be happy if during our seminar you can generate more tools for social economic development of areas where nuclear legacy sites are located. So thank you for your time. I'll be happy to answer your questions.
Thank you. Mikhail, maybe you can stop sharing so that we can see you in the big screen.
I tried. Yes.
Yeah, that's better because it makes a little bit more in-person participation. Any question to Mikhail? There are two Russian ladies here that are eager to make you a lot of questions.
I'm happy.
Nobody? So
there are two reasons. Everything is clear or nothing is clear.
No, I think that this is a very impressive work that you demonstrated. And the question even posed to my colleagues, experts here, is that you use the SDGs as something that is not an indicator, but as a kind of a guiding objective to address some issues that have been identified in the Sustainable Development Goals. So you mentioned some of them in your last slide, and you demonstrated some examples how you address some of the requirements in these SDGs 2, 3, 6, 7, and 11. So, and then in the end you talked about possibilities to have other tools that you could use in the pursuit of contributing to the socio-economic development of these areas. So how and why did you come to this strategy? Why did you pick up the SDGs? And did you consider any other strategy in order to pursue the goal that you were pursuing?
I cannot hear you.
You cannot hear me? Now you can hear me?
Now I can.
So I was articulating this thing. You use the SDGs in a way to contribute to, as you wrote, to the socio-economic development of areas where legacy sites are located. My question is, why did you make the option for this strategy, and did you consider any other strategy instead of using the SDGs as a kind of not benchmark, is not a word, but an objective, a target to address? Did you consider any other possibility?
I will clear it. It's not the SDG is not a target which we are aiming at. It's just a tool to calculate task vice versa. Having the SDG, we can formulate the measures to develop the local community. Usually it works vice versa. First you have the measures for developing the local community, and then it is necessary to prove that these measures are in accordance with the SDG. We calculated the vice versa approach. We came from the SDG back to the measures. I don't know if it is completely new, but I have never seen this ideology. It's just a result of our study.
Yeah, because what I want to highlight is that we are pursuing sustainable solutions in terms of remediation in this particular training course. And the way we are dealing with this is to, for example, to use some sustainability indicators in what is being as a tool that we are demonstrating. Our expert Giuseppe Monda demonstrated today, and we'll go into details tomorrow in a software using social multi-criteria decision analysis. This is what we are putting forward. You have a different strategy, and that's something that we need to look into. But my question now is, I understood that you have, in the case of the chemical compound, the industrial compound, you have a presidential decree to address the issues and go beyond remediation, but also focus on social development of the neighboring community. Was there any process of engaging the community in the decisions that would affect them in that objective?
Certainly. First indicator that the catastrophe is nearby was the worsening ecological situation in Sibirsk. Some tanks has a leakage of the chemical, and the pollution came to Angara River. It was the first call of a catastrophe, and after these calls, multi-calls, there was issued the presidential decree, and the works and the program starts rolling. Frankly speaking, without this highest degree, it will not work. And I suppose that most of the Central Asia countries are at the same position. If there is no involvement of the higher levels or the highest authority into the project, it will not work. So the expert community, the main task of the expert community is to have this, to bring up this information about the conditions of nuclear legacy sites, if it is dangerous, and what should be done immediately on the highest level of authority.
But my question was, in terms of the stakeholders, the local stakeholders, the population nearby, did they participate somehow in the definition of the solutions, or they were eventually communicated that the expert decision was that, and this is what would be implemented?
Their role, the local population role, was just initiate the establishing of the program. Just an impetus, just to start this work. When the decisions were formulated, there was public hearing, but you know, if you don't have anything, and if somebody brings you something, you'll be happy in any case. So there was not so much alternative for the locals to have other ways of remediation for the site. It was not an alternative for them.
I understand. And when you talk about the Central Asian countries, we have a representative here from Uzbekistan, as I mentioned. I agree that it's not only restricted to Central Asia. I think that is much more wider. If there is no engagement of the high policymakers, decision makers in the country, it's very difficult to move on these projects because they are very costly, they take time, they need a lot of engagement and a lot of mobilization of resources. So in which way in this program with the CIS countries were you able to foster the engagement of the authorities in the CIS countries? What kind of approach did you use?
First of all, it was the first report which made by the Commission in 26. It was a first assumption of the situation with the nuclear legacies, former uranium extraction sites, and we brought it up to the prime ministers of the CIS countries, and the decision was made that this problem should be addressed. Frankly speaking, it is the start of all activities we had with the former nuclear legacy sites. 2006, it is more than 20 years ago. Now we have some fruits, and we gain some results.
So, just as a final comment and a final question, and I just ask again if there is any questions from the audience. Maybe people are tired because after the whole day. You mentioned this report of the agency on end state. I really appreciate that you make reference to that. It's very nice to know that whatever we do, and you also mentioned cider, whatever we do is being used and serves a good purpose. I will report that back in the IAEA. So what I was about to ask is, in which way do you believe that organizations like the agency could contribute more to address some challenges that you are facing? What could be missing in this particular respect? Do you have any kind of
we have more coordination. You know that the agency, first of all, tools to coordinate activities in a region. We saw it in 2012 when the first meeting of the coordination group, so-called Seagulls, was assembled at the Vienna. There were several reports of international organizations like even NATO, EBRD, and others. They reported about the uranium legacy sites in Central Asia, and in their reports they had the same information. It was a waste of time, waste of resources, waste of human resources. First of all, 5 agencies did the same job. It is unprecedented. On my opinion, first of all, the IAEA should be the coordinator of such kind of activities in the region. If there is a problem, it should be addressed with the agency, and the agency should coordinate the efforts of local authorities, of international organizations, and so on. It's the first task. The second, best practices. The agency is accumulating best practices for certain problems, and to share this with this information, this experience with the local authorities is number one task of the agency, in my opinion. That's all.
Yep. And my final question, and sorry to push on you, Des. Some of these projects in Central Asia were done in cooperation with the other international organizations than the IAEA. And then I was not directly involved in these activities. It was more towards the Department of Nuclear Safety in the agency. But talking to colleagues, I have kind of identified that different approaches were used by different organizations. And what can you tell us about working in this type of arrangement with same countries where different organizations are providing support, but maybe they have a different perspective in how to get the work done? Is there anything you can share with us on this aspect?
Sure, you need a very close cooperation with your colleagues. Thanks to the IAEA activity in coordination, we established a very close relation with the EBRD, with the European Commission, and we even signed the MOU on coordination in the field of remediation of uranium legacy sites in Central Asia. It was in 2017. And we practically went on the object, on the site, and limited the activities between each other. There was a map in Taboshar, for instance, where it was drawn a line where should be activities of the CIS program, where should be the activities of the European Commission program. It was absolutely clear, understandable that nobody will interfere in each other project, and the programs will supplement each other. And it was a brilliant work. We finally did the Taboshar site in excellent condition.
Thank you. So once again, any other comment? It was all clear. Okay, so if that is the case, I would just want to ask a round of applause to Mikhail. Thank you for your availability, and I hope that in the next meeting we can have you in person so that you can share this important experience with us. Thank you, Mikhail.
Thank you for your time. I wish you good luck in your very important work. Thank you.
Спасибо большое. До свидания.
Goodbye.
Bye. So,
one more question.
Yes, sir.
Can you share with me the results of practical works you have with the audience? I'm very interested what your idea, about the fresh ideas.
It will be everything in a Microsoft Teams site. Are you already there? You are.
I'm there.
It will be everything there, everything uploaded there. I need
Great.
to say goodbye, not here, but
goodbye.
here. Bye, thank you. So, just some clarifications. Before 2009, we, in the agency, we noticed that there are countries in Central Asia. Countries in Central Asia are those that were mentioned, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Kazakhstan. They were requesting support for the legacy sites there, which was essentially mining sites from whatever happened in the United States happened also in the eastern part of the world, because that was the Cold War era. So there was a lot of activities to produce uranium, and those activities, mining activities, left the legacy sites that need to be addressed. You saw the pictures with the tailings and so on and so forth. So definitely there was the need to address those sites, and these countries, they were asking for support to different organizations, right? And that was a bit of a confusion situation because there was no clear coordination in this support that was being done. So in the Astana conference in 2009, I was already working for the agency. There was the creation of what is called, you heard about SIGULs many times, right? And SIGULs stand for the Coordination Group of Uranium Legacy Site. And this Coordination Group of Uranium Legacy Site had the function exactly to provide coordination in the terms of how this work would be done. And the very first thing that was done was a master, well, I'm making a very, very long story short, but one of the things that were done was a master plan prioritizing which one of the sites would be addressed with the money that would come from the Russian Federation and also the money that would come from the European Commission through the European Bank of Development and Reconstruction, EBRD. And this, for this purpose, there was a creation of an account called the Environmental Remediation Account. And this account was the account that supported part of the work that has been done in those countries, right? But for that, it's very important when you have to, I will sit down a bit. For that, when you have multi-organizations operating in the same region, it's very important to have such kind of coordination, and the agency played that particular role. Otherwise, you run the risk of redundance, you run the risk of having different approaches, and that creates a lot of confusion in the countries where the work is being developed. Otabek is from Uzbekistan, and he is familiar with his work. So that was the strategy that was used. And of course, there were different types of technical cooperation projects of the agency to build capacity in terms of regulatory bodies, in terms of laboratories, in terms of project planning, and many other activities. And that was still ongoing activities. There are objects, you saw how many objects there has to be addressed. I think that the
recording stopped.
Oh, just now. But it's not bad information. But what is important is that these are long run things. The question, I guess, that for us that can be, I'm gonna take a picture of me like this. My boss will fire me. How can you, without tie and jeans? So I'm joking, huh? Feel free to take a picture, no problem. So the question that we might wish to ask ourselves, and I put this question to Catrinel and to Giuseppe as well, is when you have such a kind of diverse locations, diverse legacy areas, how to deal with this, how to put in place a strategy that can take into consideration, you understand what I mean? There will have different communities involved in the same country where you have different objects to deal with. And that cannot be done without proper pool of organizations that can provide that aspect, that support. So how to deal with a situation when you have a multi-faceted, distributed sites where there were different surrounding communities that you need to deal with in a participatory way. That can be quite challenging to approach that, particularly when we have limited resources. something for us to think about, for you also to think about. Because, for example, I was there in some of these sites, and in some occasions, what I heard, this is my personal experience, the person came to me and said that she was the Ministry of Health, and she was more concerned about the water quality than the contamination of radioactivity coming from these sites. So that was a particular situation in one particular site in one particular country. But if you go to somewhere else, where I think that Otobek mentioned that the materials were taken to build houses. Who told that here? Somebody told that materials were being taken from the tailings to build houses. So then you go to, it was you. Yeah, sorry, Anastasia. So that brings another type of concern, that brings another type of problem. So you can have different angles for a similar situation, but that has to be dealt with in different way, and to what extent we would have the capacity to implement the approaches that we are discussing here in such particular situation. And in the pursuit of sustainable solutions. This is one question. And the other one is, what about what they have done in terms of using the SDGs as something to inspire the actions that would be implemented in particular objects, in particular situations? Is that a way to pursue sustainability? Food for thought. Don't need to get an answer now. It's already 5:10. You are tired, but I would like to leave these considerations for your. I was discussing with Andrea, and she was just mentioned that for her it was a very good course in the sense that she has a very technical perspective, and we were trained to address the issues in a technical way. But there is much more than this. And you see that only the technical solutions will not do the job, because there are many more things that you need to consider to make it work. And these are some of the things that we can share with you. But these two thoughts I would like to leave for further consideration. Maybe during the dinner we can discuss. No, not during the dinner. But maybe, and also for you, in your exercise, maybe you can take inspiration on some of the things that were shown today, which is a very practical. You may agree, you may disagree, you may have a different perspective, it doesn't matter. That was the way that has been done. So let's think about it. So, Arpin, maybe we should mention that to you right now. Tomorrow we will not be having our meeting here. We will meet, we'll have the meeting in another place that Arpin will tell where it is.
Okay. Of course, I will send you, all of you, an email later, but we will meet on the 4th floor of this building. It is called Acopian Gallery, and we will put signages, so you will see on the main entrance, and behind the elevator and staircases on the 4th floor, so you will see the directions. However, I will send you an email again later today. And the group work on the second part of the day for tomorrow will be again on the same room as today.
Okay, thank you, Arpin. So tomorrow, not here, in the 4th floor, just follow the signs, and then we'll have more time to do the group work after the presentations from Petronel and Giuseppe, where the tool will be showcased, demonstrated.
Only tomorrow.
Yeah, only tomorrow. So Friday we come back, so you'll be presenting in this auditorium. I have no idea. Petronel, you are our guide. Where is the restaurant?
Wherever
Arpin, how do we get to the restaurant?
Maybe you can write the name of the restaurant.
The restaurant's there.
Send an email direction.
As I did last time, I can send you the location, Google Maps. From the hotel. Yeah.
So, for those who will join us, see you later. For those who will not be joining us tonight, see you tomorrow.